The room was quiet when Caitríona Balfe dropped the line that no one expected. For nearly a decade, she and Sam Heughan had been asked about everything under the sun: their on-screen chemistry, their enduring friendship, even the endless fan fantasies that blurred the line between Jamie and Claire with Sam and Caitríona. And yet, through it all, Caitríona had always been measured, careful not to feed the gossip machine that had trailed them since Outlander first aired. But this time, something shifted. She broke the wall of silence with words that left fans, and Hollywood insiders, stunned. "Sam has a secret," she said, her voice calm but deliberate. "It's not the kind of secret people expect, but it's something that shows just how much he's sacrificed to live the life everyone thinks he has." Those words reverberated instantly across the fandom. For years, Sam Heughan has been painted as the perfect Highlander: strong, romantic, loyal, untouchable. The man who embodied Jamie Fraser became larger than life, his real self buried beneath the mythology of the character. He was adored by millions, fantasized about, scrutinized by tabloids, and dissected in fan forums. And yet, through all of it, he remained famously private. Rarely did he speak about his relationships, his struggles, or the weight of his fame. He laughed off the questions, joked about being married to Jamie, and brushed aside speculation with practiced ease. But Caitríona's words hinted at something far deeper, a truth Sam himself had never been willing to share. For her, the revelation wasn't about scandal. It wasn't about secret lovers or forbidden romances, the kinds of headlines tabloids crave. It was about something more human, more painful, and far more shocking to those who had idolized him. "Sam carries so much," she explained. "He puts on this brave face, and everyone sees Jamie Fraser. But I've seen the moments when the weight is too much, when the expectations crush him, when he feels alone in a room full of people." It was not what the public wanted to hear, but perhaps what they needed. Caitríona's statement reframed the entire narrative surrounding Sam. Suddenly, the secret wasn't about who he loved or what he did in private, but about the cost of maintaining the illusion. For years, he had been the hero, the romantic ideal projected onto him by fans and media alike. But in reality, he was a man fighting to maintain balance in a world that demanded perfection. "Sam is one of the strongest people I know," Caitríona continued, "but even he has cracks. And that's something people forget when they fall in love with the character instead of the man." The timing of her revelation made it all the more powerful. With Outlander drawing to its end, fans were already grappling with the idea of saying goodbye to Jamie Fraser. Many clung to the hope that Sam's real life mirrored the devotion and romance of his on-screen role. But Caitríona's words forced them to confront another truth. Jamie Fraser might live forever in fiction, but Sam Heughan is flesh and blood, and his life off-screen is far more complicated. Almost immediately, reactions poured in. Some fans expressed shock and even betrayal. They didn't want to hear about Sam's struggles, they wanted the fantasy preserved. Others, however, felt an unexpected surge of empathy. "It makes me love him even more," one fan wrote online. "To know he's been carrying this pressure and still giving us so much, it's heartbreaking but also inspiring." What made Caitríona's statement so striking was not just what she said, but the courage it took to say it. She knew the risks. Speaking candidly about Sam's private battles meant opening both of them up to scrutiny, criticism, and the inevitable spin of the press. But she also knew that silence had a cost. By exposing his secret, she wasn't betraying him, she was defending him. She was reminding the world that behind the kilts, the whiskey brand, the red carpets, and the fan hysteria, Sam Heughan is still a man. And that was the bombshell. Not a scandalous affair, not a shocking betrayal, but the revelation that the world's perfect Highlander has been carrying invisible scars all along. Hollywood was stunned, because in an industry built on image, Caitríona had dared to speak about what lies beneath. And for Sam, the secret was finally out, not one of shame, but one of sacrifice. Caitríona Balfe's words didn't just ripple through interviews, they detonated across Hollywood and fandom spaces alike. For years, Sam Heughan had been known as the man who never cracked under pressure, the actor who smiled through every convention panel, every invasive tabloid rumor, every loaded question about his personal life. But now, thanks to Caitríona's revelation, the world was being forced to acknowledge the cost of that composure. "The truth," she said, "is that fame can be very isolating. People think Sam has everything, the career, the adoration, the success. But they don't see what it takes from him. They don't see the loneliness that comes with being everyone's fantasy but never fully yourself." Those words cut through the noise of gossip like a knife. For a fandom that had spent years projecting Jamie Fraser's eternal devotion onto Sam Heughan, the reality was sobering. He wasn't living the love story fans so desperately wanted for him. He wasn't building a fairy tale romance behind the scenes. He was, instead, a man who had sacrificed enormous parts of his personal life to sustain the career that made him beloved. Hollywood insiders began weighing in almost immediately. One industry journalist described Caitríona's comments as the bravest truth-telling we've heard from an A-list actor about her co-star in years. Another remarked that Balfe just shattered the illusion of perfection surrounding Heughan, and in doing so, humanized him more than any PR campaign ever could. Fans were split down the middle. Some were angry. "Why would she expose him like that?" one commenter wrote on Instagram. "We didn't need to know. Sam deserves privacy." Others saw it differently, praising her for standing by her friend. "She's protecting him in the only way she knows how," another fan tweeted. "By reminding us that he's not Jamie Fraser. He's Sam, a man who's been carrying too much." It wasn't the first time Caitríona had defended her co-star. Over the years, she had often spoken of the unique bond they shared, describing Sam as her rock on set, her closest confidant in the whirlwind of Outlander. But this time was different. This wasn't about praising his professionalism or laughing about their chemistry. This was about peeling back the curtain and showing the toll that years of relentless adoration, scrutiny, and expectation had taken on him. The irony was bitter. Fans adored Sam precisely because of Jamie Fraser's unwavering loyalty, devotion, and strength. But those same expectations became chains. Every relationship rumor, every question about his love life, every headline about a secret lover, chipped away at his ability to simply exist as himself. Caitríona's revelation cast those rumors in a harsher light. They weren't just annoying distractions. They were reminders of the cage he lived in, one built not of scandal but of expectation. Her words also raised uncomfortable questions about the price of fame itself. How many stars are carrying similar secrets, not salacious affairs, but the quiet agony of isolation? How many actors smile on red carpets while silently battling exhaustion, fear, or loneliness? And why is it that only when a co-star, a trusted friend, dares to speak, the public finally listens? For Sam, the fallout was both a relief and a burden. On one hand, Caitríona's revelation lifted part of the weight. The secret was no longer his alone. The world now knew that beneath the kilts and charisma was a man who sometimes struggled, a man who sometimes felt crushed by the very adoration that made him famous. On the other hand, it also made him vulnerable. By exposing his hidden battles, Caitríona had made him human again, and humanity doesn't always sit well with an audience addicted to fantasy. The debate raged on. Was Caitríona right to speak? Did she betray Sam's privacy? Or did she save him from suffocating beneath silence? In the end, the truth may not lie in the opinions of fans or critics but in the bond between Sam and Caitríona themselves. Their friendship has endured a decade of scrutiny, survived countless rumors, and weathered every storm. If anyone had the right to speak his truth, perhaps it was her. The woman who has stood beside him through every chapter. The secret she exposed was not scandalous, not salacious, but sobering. That behind Sam Heughan's legendary smile is a man who has sacrificed much of himself to give the world Jamie Fraser. Hollywood was stunned not because of a betrayal, but because Caitríona dared to remind everyone of the humanity behind the myth. And as the echoes of her words continue to reverberate, one thing has become clear. Sam Heughan may be a global icon, but he is also a man. One who deserves compassion, respect, and, above all, the freedom to live beyond the role that made him famous.